everyone, and welcome to iHeart China channel. I'm Shelly.
I'm Chris.
And we, along with our 4 children, normally live in Dali, China, but are currently in the U.S. During quarantine season. And today we wanted to answer a few questions about what everyone is asking us. We thought we would just go ahead and do that today. But first, if you wouldn't mind, scroll down a little bit and press that red subscribe button for us. We would appreciate that. So today we wanted to answer a couple of questions about our lives and how we are here, what we're doing here, and if we will go back to China someday soon or later. So we'll do that today in our interview time. So we thought we would start today by talking about how we ended up here in the first place. And so this is January of 2020 is where our story starts. And we were getting ready to go on just a couple week vacation to Thailand. We were heading out there just for some beach time. So we had our 2 suitcases with all of our warm clothes and our
summer clothes.
Our summer clothes and several swimsuits, and we were ready to go to Thailand. And we knew that there was a virus happening around the world. We'd heard of it. We had no idea what it would mean to our world and what it would be. So as we spent a little bit of our time there, we realized we needed to kind of wait and see how things were going in China before we went back. And our time wasn't done yet, so we still had a couple weeks left in our ticket. And we just kind of watched, and as we watched, we noticed that China was shutting its borders down to protect those of their citizens and people inside the borders. And as we looked at going back in, we could not get back in. Trains were closed, roads were closed to our city, and so we had to wait and hold to see if they would open up. And as time went by, we saw that it was not going to open up, that trains were still not going into our city, roads to our city were still closed. And so that kind of brought us to the question of, well, do we stay there in Bangkok and wait our time out even longer, or do we come to the U.S., which kind of brings us to why we made the decision about coming here.
Yeah, so during that time, we were thinking every moment of every day, trying to figure out what on earth are we going to do. And after the kind of limbo period and this time of stress for our children, we finally decided one way or the other, we need to go home, whether that's home to Dali or home to the United States. And obviously, since the borders were closed, we couldn't go back to Dali, even though that was our first choice. And from that, we ended up returning to the States.
So here we are. We find ourselves in Nashville, Tennessee, and we are staying with my parents. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for letting us stay with you. And we're enjoying our time here. Our kids have really gotten into a rhythm with homeschool, and it's been a beautiful, we've seen so many blue skies and wonderful days, and it's been fun to stay indoors and spend some time with family and be together. So often we get the question of, what do our days look like while we're here in quarantine? And normally our days start with just kind of tackling breakfast, whatever that would look like, kind of as we wake up and get going. And then we move straight into homeschool, and homeschool usually lasts till right about noon. We do lunch, and then from there we split off, let the kids have some downtime, some playtime. And then since Chris is a teacher, he still works on educational stuff. So he will continue to work with preparing for his teaching time back in China, things in China that still need to keep going as an educator. So his afternoons are full of that, and we still do a lot of family stuff together. So they feel kind of normal, just with this little side note of keeping our China side open and making sure we're still taking care of things there.
One thing that people are wondering is whether or not we're going to go back ever again. And the answer to that is an emphatic yes. Absolutely, we plan to go back. We're here in the States waiting for the borders of China to open back up again. And as soon as those borders are open, we plan to be on the next plane back to China.
As soon as we can, yeah.
Yeah.
And so the question too with that, kind of piggybacking off of that, is when we go back, will we go back to the same area? We fully plan to. Our home is still there. We have friends there. Our education stuff that we're doing with Chris's job is still there. It still stands. They're still working with him. So we do plan to go to the same place as long as it's open for us to go back to. And we do truly miss it. So if you are from that area, we're sending our greetings to you today. We miss you. We love you. And hopefully we'll be able to see you soon.
One of the biggest unknowns about this season of time is, when will we go back? We just don't know. some people think it might be a little bit early, maybe August or September, October, something like that. Some people think it'll be later, maybe around the turn of the new year, around 2021. We don't know. I think in this instance, it's better to be a little bit more pessimistic, thinking it will be a long time until we're able to go back, so that if we get to go back early, we'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
One of the things that is drawing us back to our city is the fact that all of our stuff is in our apartment. Our couches, a lot of our clothes, everything is there in our apartment, just sitting there waiting for us to return. So hopefully soon we'll be able to go back to those things and pick life back up where we left off.
And we truly are blessed because we have some friends that are going to check on it for us and make sure everything is going well with our apartment still, making sure there's no problems, making sure our utilities are taken care of and that kind of stuff. So we really are blessed to know that is not a worry for us right now.
Absolutely.
So when we do go back, what people often say, what's the first thing you're gonna do when you go back? And I think aside from seeing our friends and kind of connecting with people that we love and have missed, we are gonna hit some restaurants.
Yes.
Yeah. You have one that's like your favorite?
Well, there's a couple of restaurants that I love really close by. There's a Muslim restaurant, and then we have another restaurant. I forget what it's called, but we refer to it as the Nicho restaurant, which are these little fish things the kids like to look at.
In their lobby, the little fish tank you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite thing that I'm gonna get when I first back is just fried rice, but this fried rice is special. They cure their meat. It's dried meat, kind of like a jerky, and then it's salt cured. And then they cut it in little tiny pieces, but they throw it right in the rice as they're frying it. And they, all of it in there together. And I am sure it is terrible for me, but man, it is so good.
So good.
I could eat it every day of the week. So knowing that it's probably a little bit higher in calories, we try to hold off a little bit, but it is so good. It's something we miss a lot. So that would be the first place I go. So for our last question that we get a lot of people ask us about, what will our schooling look like as we go back into China? And we will continue with homeschooling. Currently there is no school for international students, which we are the international foreigners there, and so there are no school options for our children. We have been homeschooling for the last year, so we will continue to do that, and who knows what will open up for our kids at that point. But we do plan on putting them in music or sports or some sort of arts classes that would connect them to the community and to friends, so they can keep friends there and keep getting to know our community as well. So it will look much the same. We're gonna try to keep them as consistent as possible and then keep their lives going, but we'll just move straight through it with homeschool and hope for a chance to connect with our community in another way. Well, thanks for stopping in today. We really appreciate your support and your love.
That's right.
We could not do this without you. We have started this channel to share our lives in China with you, and it feels a bit different since we are in America. So we're gonna go back and hopefully do some of our top 10 favorites or memories from our time in China while we're here. And that way we can remember and you can see some of the things we've never been able to share before. So stick by for that, and we'll see you on the next video.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.